Hey all, Joe here with All Funnies and Games, and today I'll be making a monster. Now, this episode might be a bit spooky for some of you out there, and if you don't like spooky stuff, please don't feel like you have to stay. I also want to open with a favorite quote of mine from C.S. Lewis. Since it is so likely that children will meet cruel enemies, let them at least have heard of brave knights and heroic courage. That said, I want to tell you right off the bat that this monster is made for tabletop gaming. It's a horrible beastie meant to give brave and noble heroes a challenge on their brave and noble quests. Simply put, this beast is made to be beaten. I've been wanting to come up with a monster concept generator for a while, and I finally landed on Seventh Sanctum. Sadly, their site needed a little bit of tweaking to get what I wanted. I took their list of theming options for the superhero/villain name generator and put those items on my own randomized list. The first result was a royal bird with air elemental abilities, and since I didn't want to just make Revali from Breath of the Wild, I rolled again. This time I got Insect, Darkness, and Seer. So I thought this would be an insectoid enemy themed to darkness and to seeing without sight, which I thought worked well together. Again, I used the Jazza method to try out some concept art ideas. Giant mouth slug, maybe ant, a giant fuzzy antennae was something I liked. Human hands in shape, but with spikes and exoskeleton. Maybe even like a big fat bug with 4 little legs and 2 creepy arms. I liked the idea of enormous antennae to fit the seeing without sight element of the theming. I made a first attempt to bring my favorite parts together, and it didn't quite work. So I wrote out a list of the things I liked and took a second crack at it. This one had a much more predatory posture, and I decided to have banks of antennae to let it be an insect that can feel intruders through its antennae, like a spider with its web. I thought the segmented mandibles added some creepy factor to the whole thing, and having sunken eye sockets made it look like this thing should have eyes, and it worked better than just leaving a blank stretch of carapace. It also added a slightly skeletal look to the face. I also decided to keep the vertical mouth from the first sluggish-looking concept piece. I had a little trouble making the antenna look feathery, and eventually landed on something more like moss or tattered cloth. I still think it worked out pretty well. Is this a bad time to mention I'm thinking about making a coloring book? Dark colors worked well for this, and most of the thing is done up in a desaturated gray to red spectrum. That said, I liked the ghostly look of making the antenna more of a pale green. I went with a lighter color for the underbelly. So this thing probably establishes a solitary lair that it can fill with its antennae. It feels for prey to brush against its wispy antennae and patiently waits for the right moment to strike. If dragged into daylight, it loses all of its natural camouflage and flails about wildly, unable to see anything beyond the reach of its feelers. It's sensitive to heat, but not, obviously, to light, and as with many armored enemies, its underbelly is a relatively weak point. That is, if anyone's brave enough to get close enough to take a swing at it. So there it is. If you play tabletop games, I hope this is a monster that'll be fun at your table, and if not, then hopefully it at least made for a fun video. Shoutouts to A Wiesner, Katie's Corner, Krisha Samara, Cuppa Joe, Darcy C., F.A. Vabestanazen, Masera Lari, Gem's World, Letitia and Inara HD, Layla and Ellie Do It All CA, My Looney Bin, Natia D, Sasha and Paige Vlogs, Soda Pop Kids TV, Waffle Gaming, Yo Mom, and Zoe at Naya. All of these people have commented on my last couple of videos, and I can't tell you, 1, how grateful I am to have all of you here, and 2, how jazzed I am to see so many comments lately. This is unbelievably encouraging. Thank you for watching, and if you're a new viewer, I do take drawing suggestions in the YouTube comments. Don't be shy, I seriously love when I get viewer suggestions. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.